Good morning. Wall Street is back in a major way. Nearly $500 million has gone into the Bitcoin ETFs in the last 2 trading days. The far left gone far wrong. They're proposing a 90% wealth income tax over in France. If passed, that would be the end of the free world for the French citizens. Bitcoin, it's back around the $58,000 level. Australian stock market, they're set to launch their second Bitcoin ETF in the next couple of days. Bitcoin and blockchain over in the US are being discussed for nation state defense. CNBC, of all people, are saying Bitcoin is now in full send territory. And by the way, with Germany, they have been forced to sell their Bitcoin. Let's dive in to all of it this morning. Justin, CNBC Pro says Bitcoin is holding support and ready to make another run at a record. We're going to dive into this a little bit further. But Nate, just see it here. 438 million into spot Bitcoin ETFs over the past 2 days. How can this be? What's gone right? What's gone wrong here? I was told only degen retail investors held these products and they would bail at any downturn. According to Bloomberg, Bitcoin dip buyers pour 438 million into the US ETFs in 2 days. Largest cryptocurrency rebound from 5-week decline. Slide deaccelerated last week after the Mt. Gox began distribution. So what's going on? Huge amount of inflows at the moment. Shout out to everyone watching live, watching the replay this morning. BlackRock's IBIT dominates with 187.21 million. The spot Bitcoin ETF in the US experienced another day of gains on Monday, capturing 294.9 million in inflows. Let's get us a little bit of cash, eh? During the trading session, these inflows follow the 143 million accumulated Friday, July 5th. After Germany sold into such a low liquidity market, none of the other couple of inflows here. Fidelity garnered 61.54 million, Grayscale 25 million, Bitwise 11 mil, ARK Invest fund ARKB 8.4 million, VanEck 1.59 million. What I found most interesting out of all of this is none of the other ETFs saw outflows nor inflows, as BTCO, Brr, DeFi, EZBC, and BTCW all saw neutral days. Be nice if they could make their tickers sound phonetic. The latest inflows into the US spot Bitcoin ETF highlights increasing investor confidence in Bitcoin. People are starting to wake up. They're starting to read the books. They're starting to understand what this asset is. The world's hardest form of money to ever exist. They're starting to get it slowly, then suddenly. It's just the rules of Bitcoin. That's how this thing plays out. But BlackRock, they're leading the position along with substantial investment in other funds such as Fidelity's FBTC and Grayscale's GBDC underscores a competitive and swiftly evolving market landscape. While there have been occasional outflows, the US spot Bitcoin ETFs have set records this year. Let's never forget that. And we're going to come back to Wall Street and Germany shortly. But I find this pretty interesting. Here in Australia, it doesn't mean much to me, but a 90% income tax on the rich, the left-wing French coalition is proposing, absolutely insane. This is the end of freedom. And this isn't particular just to France. This can happen absolutely anywhere, especially if they do bring in CBDCs. But France left wing, new popular front, MPF, not MPC, now the largest group in parliament, has called for a prime minister who will implement its ideas, including a new wealth tax and petrol price controls. Getting rid of the screen, the leftist alliance secured the most seats in the recent French elections, but fell short of the 289 needed for majority in the National Assembly, France's lower house of parliament. That's good. I dare say they don't have a majority straight off the bat. Australian being gaslit, 4,500 goes solar. There's an ad there that we can skip past. Now, Manuel Bompard from the hard left of France Unbowed Party, which is part of the NPF, said the president must appoint as prime minister, someone from the new Popular Front to implement the NFP's program, the whole program and nothing but the program. Sounds a little bit scary just in and of itself. So what are their policies? Shortly after it formed in June, then IPF outlined its ambitious economic program and how it would fund it. It included raising minimum wages. We've seen this play out a couple of times recently over in the States. We saw, I believe, this fast food chain. They're forced to increase minimum wage, and due to the unions, and soon went bust and they had to close down. So whether that works or not, Australian, the Reserve Bank of Australia's got a pretty interesting article on it. They reckon it doesn't happen at all. It causes no hardship on the small businesses. But when you see the proof out there, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Price controls on essential foods, electricity, gas, and petrol. Lowering the retirement age to 60. I like that. Nobody should have to work for their whole lives. But this is scary. A new 90% tax on any annual income above 400,000, and heavy investment in green transition and public services. That's pretty crazy. 400,000. There's only a $200,000 wage in purchasing power 4 short years ago. If they start printing money again, $400,000 is like $100,000 in another short 4 years if they do this again. It's really nothing. And we see it with like the KYC, the AML laws. That $10,000 was the equivalent to about $100,000 back in the day when they first came in. Once it comes in, it's very hard for it to be able to change. Obviously, you can opt out of the tyranny. There is Bitcoin. You just buy, stack, and chill. But that's pretty crazy. If we go over to the dailymail.uk, the program includes a 90% tax rate on any annual income above 400,000, a reduction in the retirement age 64 to 60, a block on the price of essential goods, 14% increase in minimum wage, and spending commitments of at least 150 billion over 3 years. I don't know if it's going to play out really well. We'll talk about how you can become free and escape. But it's a good reminder for everyone. $100 a month into Bitcoin, are you going to get rich overnight? No. Are you going to stop yourself from getting poor rapidly? Absolutely. And over the last 5 years, Adam O posted a really great tweet post. If you bought $100 a month of Bitcoin starting exactly 5 years ago, you would have spent a total sum of $6,100 and acquired 0.31 Bitcoin worth almost $18,000 today. 6,000 into 18,000. Is that wealth? Is that retirement money? No, it's not. But take this for example. It's that 6,000 is now 18,000. Bitcoin's at 57,000. If we bring it up there, Bitcoin's at 57,000. So it gets to 150,000 this cycle at the lowest. For example, picking a number, around 57 down to 50,000. 3x from here, 18,000 into 54,000 off 6,000. Now we're starting to get a little bit serious. It's about spending time here, doing what you can, what's comfortable. $54,000 is a lot of money for a lot of people out there. $100 a month. Most people in that situation aren't going to miss it. I understand it's better to buy it 5 years ago. It truly was. Second best time is now. All these dips that we're seeing, absolutely incredible. Annual return 24%, total return 192%. Bitcoin, phenomenal long-term savings tool. It's TikTok next blog. Better get some just in case it catches on. So over to CNBC, 2 to 5% allocation in Bitcoin. People are starting to wake up. For people that have been here for a while, it seems pretty low. Maybe irresponsibly low, but for the average person, it's a pretty good place to start. And I like his reasoning behind it. So let's enjoy a nice little movie time this morning.
Percentage of gold's market cap should Bitcoin have? What within 5 years?
Think about it this way. When you look at the price of Bitcoin, look at the denominator. Look at USD. So I'd rather really think about the USD part of Bitcoin over USD than comparing it to gold, because
when you look at what gold's valued at, it's over USD. So it's the same.
It's the same idea. It's just I think when think about what you think about the dollar and think about what you want to replace it with. Gold in its physical form is hard to move around.
That's what I mean. Bitcoin should at least, there's no reason it shouldn't be just 10% or 20% or 30% of gold.
Right.
It should be, and poor Senator Menendez, I mean, he's like walking around with these gold bars. It's like, oh, I mean, if he had Bitcoin, it would have been right on his.
I think they were hidden. I don't think he was carrying.
Oh, he wasn't
them on
actually
his
carrying them. Or it would have been a lot easier. He'd probably still be, sailing, no problem.
closet.
That's right.
Right?
And actually cleaning up a lot of these old
home
cases
free.
about Silk Road and Mt. Gox, I think will help. Like that helps just sort of cleanse us all of these kind of old sins, and we can move on with a clearer idea of Bitcoin as being a store of value. And a lot of the ETF holders, I think, feel that way. Also, diversified returns. So the whole asset class presents a lot of
So
opportunities.
you're a stacker, and you think people ought to keep stacking.
I think people should really consider with their advisors to add 2 to 5% of Bitcoin.
Percentage of.
Should look to add 2 to 5% of Bitcoin. And what I'll do is bring up the Clark Moody dashboard, because what they're saying there is Bitcoin should be 20 to 30% of gold slowly, then suddenly at the moment, you can see it down here, bottom left corner, we're only making up 7% of gold's market cap. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is coming for gold. It's just a matter of time. But the 2 to 5%, what do you reckon on that? Is that irresponsibly short, irresponsibly long? I think that's on the short side, but I understand it takes a little while to be able to read the books for people to wake up to the fact. We're going to dive into Germany. Yes, they have been forced to sell. They've got no choice in it. It's not so much the country Germany that is selling the Bitcoin, but someone out there has sent an inscription to the German government saying taxation is robbery. What a legend. This was posted by Vivek there. Bitcoiners, they're just a different breed, hey? It's pretty incredible, always sticking up for truth, but it's not Germany selling Bitcoin. It is one of its states, and it's got no choice. So this is a news analyst, according to CoinDesk this morning, since confiscating nearly $3 billion worth of Bitcoin in January, Germany's state of Saxony has sold over half its initial holdings, causing distress in the market. I don't know what distress there's been. It's been a pretty grand and glorious opportunity to be back at 57,924 to go as low as 54,000. It's a blessing. So they can keep dumping as far as I can care for as long as they want. They still have like 22,000 coins to go, and they're going to come onto the market. But Wall Street is buying it up, nearly $500 million 2 trading days. They can do nothing. It's just a matter of time, just buying the stats, making the most of it. But millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Saxony, the state confiscated almost 50,000 Bitcoin in January, has been selling its holdings as per standard practice for assets seized during criminal investigations. So for days, news outlets worldwide report on Germany sell hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin and ensuring distress in the markets, the majority sell-offs in crypto prices. First, it's not Germany itself that's selling the crypto. Bitcoin ain't crypto. I understand there are semantics there. It is a small state in the eastern part of the country called Saxony. Second, though crypto fans have roasted the decision to dump so much of their beloved Bitcoin, Saxony doesn't have a choice. Earlier this year, the state's criminal police officer, known by its German acronym LKA, sees 49,857 Bitcoin worth almost 3 billion at current prices. I just love how they get so trolled for Vivek. Imagine selling the hardest money on earth, Bitcoin, for something you can print out of thin air. German government officials are literal idiots. It's Bitcoiners are absolutely relentless. The General Prosecutor's Office of Saxony is responsible for liquidating confiscated assets, and the sell-off is hardly surprising, says Dr. Lennart Arndt, co-founder and CEO of German-based blockchain research lab. Now, the seized assets are always liquidated within a certain period. This is a routine business process, although at a much larger normal scale. In most cases, confiscated assets can only be transferred or sold, with the proceeds going to the state budget. Once a judge rules, the state is allowed to do so, which isn't the case in this particular situation. However, states can request to initiate emergency sale, which could be issued if the asset's value might quickly lose value or is difficult to store. For example, Ant explained, in the case of Bitcoin, this could at least be argued on the grounds of volatility. He said, there's evidence, however, Saxony is trying to sell too much Bitcoin all at once. To be able to sell it on the 4th of July when there's very little liquidity in the market was like their biggest mistake. To sell it publicly instead of OTC was their second next mistake. And on Tuesday, we covered it. First video, it slipped a little bit, but they received $200 million back from some of the exchanges, indicating that there wasn't enough demand to buy such a huge sum. Bitcoin, it still went down. It gave us a nice opportunity. It's come right back up, and Wall Street just doesn't care. Smart money is really just not caring about the dips. They're buying it up. So, question for everyone at home: did you buy the dip? Are you making the most of it, or did you panic sell? Because if we're panic selling now at $57,903, if we get a 10, or when we get a 10, 20, $30,000 drop, that's really going to shake a lot of people out. That's when you need to be able to have the conviction it's just a patience game, in my opinion. I was talking to a really good friend yesterday on the phone, and he's finally gotten off Ledger. Thankfully, he got a cold card, so well done, mate, for doing that. Truly appreciate. And he doesn't think he should run a node. 100% you need to run a node to be able to be your own bank, to be able to be sovereign. They're very cheap. They're not that hard to set up. They don't take long. You can get them like pre-made, preloaded, very easy, or you can build one yourself there and become your own bank. But there should be no excuse. And Tony from the Bitcoin Way says, here are the top 4 worst excuses for delaying Bitcoin self-custody. It's too complicated to understand. It's truly not. It's just steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You just need to learn what to do. I trust the exchanges to keep my Bitcoin safe. If anyone's doing that, not a good idea. Even in Australia, our exchanges, most of them, to my awareness, are insured the same as banks are, which that's $250,000 Australian. What's that? Maybe 180,000 US, roughly, give or take. Some back of the napkin math there. So if they go down, you'll be reimbursed $250,000 if you have that in there. Anything above it won't be done. They'll print that money happily, but what are you getting at that stage? You're getting paper money. Now, we've had enough of the paper money. It's just worthless toilet paper now. So leaving your Bitcoin on exchange is like the riskiest thing you can do. FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, 3AC, the list goes on. They'll continue to keep failing. I believe this cycle, we're going to see some spectacular ones. Maybe not as big as FTX. Hopefully not as big as FTX, and hopefully that doesn't happen to anyone out there. I don't have time to set it up. It really doesn't take any time, and I have to ask my wife. If any of those excuses are coming from your mouth, you need to check yourself. This gentleman here, I'm going to let him talk about his story. He went through the process. He could do it. And for 99% of people watching this video, this gentleman is older, from a different generation, and he managed to get it. Maybe at a little bit of a fairer advantage, but he took the time to read the book. He says it himself. So I'll let him speak on this topic.
I am an 82-year-old gentleman who, after 2008, determined that the US dollar is on its last legs. With that conclusion, I became a contrarian. I moved away from the equity markets, a very expensive decision. I invested in precious metals, not to increase my net worth, but rather to preserve it. That's all I have managed to do. Along the way, I'd heard of Bitcoin. I bought some for a song and a dance. I lost it in the Mt. Gox hack of 2013, but remained intrigued. So much so that I began to read books, view videos, and invest anew in this amazing discovery. I became convinced that Bitcoin, not precious metals, is the solution to the problem that I first recognized in 2008. Ironically, the Bitcoin white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto was released in late 2008. I'm an engineer. Computers are second nature to me. However, Bitcoin purchase, transfer, and custody can be daunting. Add the fact that it is your money that you are manipulating, possibly lots of money, maybe at some point your entire net worth. I have made my way through exchanges and wallets. I have managed to self-custody Bitcoin. However, not without what they refer to as FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Enter the Bitcoin way. I first saw an advertisement for their services on Twitter, now X. I took advantage of the 30-minute free consultation they offer. I immediately forwarded a prepayment in the form of Bitcoin for a series of consultations. I am halfway through our series of discussions, and my level of comprehension is soaring. The why of Bitcoin is not difficult. The how can be. The Bitcoin way marries the how to the why. If, like me, you see Bitcoin discovery as second only to maybe fire and the wheel, but you are uncomfortable with the technical aspects of Bitcoin, give the Bitcoin way a try. You will be well on your way to owning and protecting the greatest money ever discovered. Thank you.
I could not agree more with this gentleman. If he can do it, absolutely anyone can do it, and absolutely anyone can do it. It's literally just a process from A to Z. You go through the process. The Bitcoin way, obviously, they're the sponsors, top of the description, that there's their link. The first 30 minutes is free. There should be no reason, there's zero reason to be on Ledger, zero reason to be on Trezor. Has to be air gap. You need to run a node. Become self-sovereign. If, say this makes up 10% of your net worth, your net wealth at the moment, and we get a 10x over the next 10 years, or higher, a 20x if we're going from 50,000 to $1 million, and that becomes 100% of your purchasing power, and you've gone afoul somewhere there, that's on you. The tools, the resources, they're all there. Either the Bitcoin way or go through BTC sessions is another great place on YouTube to be able to do it. Just please do it. It's not a game. Things like what's happening in France, CBDCs, they're coming. Maybe now is the time to think about getting a second pass. In case you end up in a place where you don't agree with the regime thinking, the confiscation of your financial privilege, I'll leave that with you. Now, this is more on blockchain technology over in the US, and they do bring Bitcoin into it. But it's pretty fascinating that Bitcoin started this conversation. Obviously, Jason Lowery's softball thesis. And the reason I brought this up is because Jason Lowery reposted a tweet very similar to this morning. The US Senate Committee on Armed Services urges the Department of Defense to explore blockchain for national security applications, including supply chain management. Cool, I get it. Will it be a public blockchain if they do it? I highly doubt it. Not in the slightest, which doesn't really benefit anyone apart from them internally. But maybe it stops a little bit more of the manipulation through the bureaucracy. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But the committee notes that blockchain tech has the potential to enhance the cryptographic integrity of the defense supply chain, improve data integrity, and reduce the risk of the manipulation or corruption of certain types of data by near-peer competitors. A plan for pilot programs or research and development efforts to explore the use of blockchain tech in national security applications, including supply chain management, cybersecurity for critical infrastructure asset, and procurement portability. 3 things. While members, the US Senate Committee eye blockchain adoption in the near future, bit of a mouthful, that line there. Anyway, US politicians have also started advocating for Bitcoin and crypto adoption. According to a July 8th update to Republican Party presidential candidate Donald J. Trump's campaign website, the Republican National Committee passed a draft for policy platform that includes advocating for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin mining, We will defend the right to mine Bitcoin and ensure every American has the right to self-custody of their digital assets and transact free from government surveillance and control. Blockchain, Bitcoin, even crypto to a lesser extent are coming into the political conversation worldwide, even here with the Libertarian Party in Australia starting to talk about it, maybe even starting to buy it, putting it into self-custody on things like cold cards. The world is waking up that Bitcoin's time has come. It's not something hypothetical. Maybe Bitcoin will work, maybe it doesn't. Bitcoin just works. It is what it is. It's number go technology. It's freedom technology. In my opinion, over time, Bitcoin's going up and to the right forever. Unless it breaks, unless for some reason it becomes decentralized in some way and gets co-opted. Barring that aside, at $57,855, I strongly believe it's going to $1 million. Does that take 4 years? Does it take 10 years? Does it take 20 years? I don't know and I don't care. The higher Bitcoin's price goes, the more fiat collapses and goes to zero. And most people are still on a fiat standard, whether that's real estate, cash in the bank. Gold's fine. You know, it's been a pretty good hard asset for 5,000 years. It's going to continue to be, but it's not digital. We live in a digital economy. It's permissionless free. I just see no way that Bitcoin doesn't just continue to keep going up. Forget about the ups and downs. They don't matter. Whether the power law's right or the stock to flow's right or all the models are broken and it's just parabolic. Who knows and who really cares? The faster Bitcoin's price gets really high, it means they're devaluing the currency, and that's not good for anyone that doesn't have hard assets. So if we can get a little bit of time, Bitcoin stays down here, that's really good to be able to share the message. If you've got a friend out there, share them that video with Tony or the one with Lawrence Lepard's a really good video as well if you have checked those out. And just people need to understand. They need to do it now because you can't stop it, in my opinion. Anyway, carrying on, my favorite time in the world is the block time. Block height, 851,466. It's really amazing. On average, roughly every 10 minutes or 9 minutes and 46 seconds, I think it is, over Bitcoin's history, we get a new block. Target time's 10 minutes. It just keeps working. It's just one after the other, after the other, after the other. If you were to tap your finger once for every block that we've had, 851,466, take about 15 years, 10 minutes apart. Yeah, I'm just pulling things together. Exchange rate 57,841 sats per USD. It's gone down a little bit since yesterday. Yesterday is 17,069. Today we're at 1,769. Today we're at 1,729. It's still a good deal for $1, one fiat dollar. 1,700 sats more than. It's pretty cool. Yesterday market cap was at 1.11 trillion. We're at 1.14 trillion. Wall Street, they're here. They're not stuffing around. Does Bitcoin dip lower? Maybe, maybe not. I had a friend, business partner actually yesterday. I was on the phone with him. Been telling him about Bitcoin for so long. He's like, is now the time? Said, man, not financial advice. It's me just talking to a mate, yeah. I said, if hypothetically you got $10,000 in the bank and just throw $5,000 in straight away and over the next week, just put in the next $5,000. If it comes down more, good, you get it cheaper. If it goes up higher, well, you're not worried because you put that $5,000 in straight away. And that's how I need to communicate with him. If it was me, I'd just chuck it in straight away. I don't care about the price, 74,000, 57,000. It is what it is. This thing's so insanely cheap. But he's ready. We're getting back on the phone today, and I'll be flying up or driving up in the next couple of days to something cool's coming. Anyway, people are starting to wake up. High net worth individuals are starting to wake up. People with cash flow are starting to wake up. And that's good. People with assets, they're going to jump in when they understand. They already understand the financial game. Cool. Well done for them. But Bitcoin is for everyone. It doesn't exclude anyone. And you can buy $1 worth if you need to and get 1,729 sats. Maybe it's like we said at the start of the video here. Let's find it. I think it's this one here. $100 a month. Just $100 a month over the last 5 years, 6,000 into 18,000, do nothing. We get to 150,000, that's 54,000, but just keep going. Just keep stacking those sats. This is just the revolution, and we're here now to be at the dawn of a new age. It's glorious. I've messaged a couple of people on X just saying, I'm so humbled, so grateful to be here on this journey with everyone. And I am. So shout out to you if you haven't already, and we vibe. Hit subscribe. Tomorrow's video, I mixed up the times and I apologize so much to Cam Doody. He founded Bellhop. My guess is they sold it for about $500 million. They're a VC firm, Bitcoiner, he's the pilot. It's going to be absolutely insane. The reason I'm bringing him on is to talk about planes and Bitcoin, two of my biggest interests, hobbies in the world, just fascinate me with everything, the only things that haven't really bored me. But also about the VC side of things and creating value and what he's looking for when people come with their pitch deck. Because they're seeing like 4,000 to 6,000 pitch decks per year, and they're bringing on like 6 to 10 teams, about $500,000 capital injection into each one. And it's very interesting what they're doing with Brickyard. We're going to dive into it and really tune in for that. But I want to ask what he's interested in for startup founders, people that come with an idea, maybe they've been building a little bit. Because earn money in Bitcoin, you can do it and it's great and it works. But the fiat system at the moment, there's such an abundance of fiat money, it's pretty easy to be able to take it. The government's just printed, it's glorious. And if you can grab as much of that as possible over the next couple of years and turn that into Bitcoin and just fiat harvest, add value into the world, improve people's lives, and then take that dirty old fiat and then improve your life with it. It's a match made in heaven. So I want to get a couple of ideas and dive down that rabbit hole, hopefully provide a bit of value on some of the entrepreneurs out there, where you should be focusing to be able to get to a Series A and so on. So if you've got any questions for Cam Doody, absolutely fascinating, man. I can't wait to dive into it. But just hit us up after the video has gone, finished the live. Australia, they're starting to get it now. I sort of laugh about Australia with their Bitcoin ETFs, and we're going to dive into a little bit of a Bitcoin banter shortly with everyone in the comment section. Australians are so asleep. Like the Bitcoiners that are here from Australia, shout out into the forest. Habib, I'm going to miss so many people, so I'm not going to rattle on. Well done to you. It's really hard. The level of mediocrity here in Australia is absolutely disgusting. It's pathetic. People, you know that meme where people like in front of the barbecue and they're like, oh, you catch the game last night? And they just talk about it. And you bring up Bitcoin, that's a scam, that's a Ponzi scheme. You talk about finances, saving. They're not interested. Anytime anyone does anything good that succeeds, there's this thing here in Australia called tall poppy syndrome. It's culture-wide. It's like nation-state pastime to cut people down. Tall poppy, someone does something good. Nah, that's absolutely horrific, bad. And they try to make that person that's done something absolutely epic feel small. Contrast that to when we're in the States. People get up and they speak, say something, everyone's jumping up, round of applause, really rooting people. That was the culture that I see, that I love to interact with. I find that very hard over here. People don't do that. You get a couple of free thinkers. Of course, there's outliers, but it's the exception. It's not the majority. So when it comes to Bitcoin here in Australia, they're so asleep to it. People are starting to wake up more and more and more, which is great. Australia is now getting its second spot Bitcoin ETF on the Australian Stock Exchange. It's going to be called the ticker BTXX, BITX. BITX, it's almost like buttocks, but BITX is going to go live on July 12th, a couple of days here, 2 days. It's going to happen. When the Fidelity, was it? It'll be in here. Let's bring it up, I'm sure. I'll come back to it. But whoever launched the first one, hardly anything. Very, very, very little flows into it because Australians just don't know it exists. The marketing around it is not very good. people here obviously experience high amounts of inflation. Housing prices have gone through the roof, absolutely ridiculous. Very little discretionary income, but even the people that do have it just don't understand. We've been so gaslit the psyop here in Australia. It takes a lot of time to un-F yourself to be able to remove that mind virus, that brainworm that the Australian media propaganda puppet machine has put into the Australian population. The tools are here now. The ETF, am I for it? Not at all personally. I think people should hold it in self-custody. It's a revolution, especially with what's happening. We've already got digital ID law passed here. The next step, CBDCs, like stuff that I want to be self-sovereign. I want to be a free individual. That's the point of being here for me, to be able to stack, create generational wealth. Australians have that chance for number go up technology through these ETFs. And really for the average Australian, whether they buy the ETF or they buy self-custody to begin with, if I was to recommend it, be self-custody 100%, but I'm not going to have conversations with the Australian population. I'm trying my best. That's why I wake up every day, yeah. But whether it's the ETF or self-custody, they've got the tools to be able to buy it. The monochrome ETF, which is it's on the CBOE, allows you to be able to take it in kind, to be able to withdraw the Bitcoin. I don't know the rules around it, what the fees, blah, blah, blah are. But it's a good start if they just get exposed to number go up and then they start reading the books. That's literally the quickest book to be able to understand what is Bitcoin. B is for Bitcoin, Seb Bunny. And Daz B. We'll get Daz and Seb back on the show. I need to do a full podcast with Seb. Get them to start reading the books, and then they understand they've got the opportunity, the time to be able to do it. But they're just so carried away playing the fiat Ponzi property game. Like we're looking at the Citadel still. We're going down to Melbourne twice next month, I think like 5 times in the rest of the year. Got a lot of travel coming up. And house pricing, like we're just going to swap one for the other. Our house has gone up exceptionally here, and we can buy something even bigger, nicer down there. It's absolutely bizarre. Nice views, blah, blah, blah. But houses, it's like it's a sinkhole. They're a shitcoin, truly. They cost a lot of money, a lot of resources. As the value goes up, the maintenance becomes more and more and more. We're still dealing with the insurance agent here at the moment. But the point where I'm going with this is they're so sidetracked with the house prices. They're still like going up more and more and more. And yesterday we were talking about them. They're going up more, but at a slower rate, but they're still going up. And that's going to give hope to the first-time home buyers because they're not going exponentially at the moment, but they're still going up. They're so overvalued, like 40% in the last couple of years minimum. Our house has more than doubled. That's insane for anyone trying to get into that game. And you need a house to live in. Maybe it is better to rent, whatever, or just own outright. But I think for most people to be able to save, to be able to just get that initial house deposit, they're better to be saving in Bitcoin, let the number increase, change their time horizon, and be able to get in. But the whole point of everything is they're just so asleep still. So these things coming out, I don't expect huge inflows into it. Probably ever. Unfortunately, maybe people just wake up. We're never going to see anything like the US over here. We just don't have the purchasing power or the free thinking, and we don't have Wall Street, really. But it's something good. It's a tool. It's a marketing tool. Hopefully it wakes some people up, and well done for people that bought the ETF first and then got into Bitcoin by studying the books. Let's dive into it. Digital X Bitcoin ETF, BitX is we're going with BitX. BitX, Digital X Bitcoin ETF, Digital X, that's where they get BitX from, BitX. It's a spot ETF product that provides ASX, the Australian Stock Exchange, customers with direct access to Bitcoin via a regulated and liquid fund structure, she said. That's what she said. It provides direct access to Bitcoin via a regulated and liquid fund structure. It is exciting to see the growth and development of the digital asset markets reflected in this approval in Australia. Yeah, it's exciting. We just need Australians to wake up in general. Like, for all the Aussies, fellow Aussies out there, how are you going? Orange pilling, friends, family, having a little bit more luck lately, which is absolutely fantastic. And actually need to give bloody Larry Fink of all bloody people, unfortunately, credit for that. Damn. But with BlackRock going into the Bitcoin ETF, the conversation, Bitcoin's now being endorsed by the smartest money asset manager in the world, cleverest, maybe. Maybe he's done some good things, maybe he's done some bad things, getting people to accept that Bitcoin is here. It is an economic reality. It's been helpful, but it's still fickle. I'd say maybe 1 in 10 are receptive to the idea, and maybe 5 in 100 will buy it. It's 5% max. Anyway, VanEck Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, there we go. It closed its first trading day with like a whopping $1.3 million in volume. Well done. And that's probably Aussie dollars as well. So like $700,000. Yeah, that's the state of Bitcoin adoption here in Australia. And people will be like, oh, everyone's buying self-custody. Yes, most people are buying self-custody. I get it, and which is fantastic. But most people in general are just asleep at the wheel. Unfortunately, as fiat, the ship, it's crashing, it's burning, it's going down in catastrophic flames. It's inevitable. Fiat money is just going down to zero. It's mathematically certain, not even mathematically certain. It's mathematically happening right there. It's factual, evidence-based. We just need to look at the money supply. And what's happening is not pegged to anything. Anyway, Australian fund manager BetterShares is also pursuing a Bitcoin ETF on the ASX, according to an April report for Bloomberg. I wonder if they all have $1.3 million trading days, or if there's 3 out there, it's split in between. I'm taking the jest out of Australia. I really hope people wake up to the fact, and maybe it is from me being so cynical and taking the piss, mate, from it. Maybe not. But Australians have known about Bitcoin for a very long time, so as the rest of the world. It is time to get some, because not just in case it catches on. Bitcoin's caught on. It's here. It's reality. It's going up and to the right forever, over time, volatility. Who cares? We just buy, stack, chill, enjoy it. Anyway, we've got a couple more articles. We'll dive into a bit of a banter. Oh, this is just a PSA for anyone out there that needs the service, this message. Don't know who Oliver is. Definitely do your own research. Check it's legit. The point of bringing this up here, I saw it really quickly this morning and wanted to chuck it in. The newest Blitz wallet update now includes an SMS for sats integration. If you need to receive or send an SMS anonymously, this service is for you. Need to sign up for a service and don't want to give away your number? This is for you. You need to receive an SMS, but it only accepts foreign numbers. At Sean Clark 911, I will repost this. Check it out. I'm going to check this out. What a great tool. And Bitcoin, it's so early. Cryptography is always going to be able to create peer-to-peer, unconfiscatable, uneffable tools to be able to be a sovereign individual. This is one to add to the tool belt. If you want more, reach out to the Bitcoin Way. Tony's got heaps with Stage 2, their Casper service. But that's epic. I'm sure it probably doesn't cost much either. That got me pretty excited. Definitely check out that it's legit, but just to know that those things are out there is pretty cool. That's the news with the fast facts. Let's see if I can bring up the chat here. Yeah, let's go back full screen. That's not going to work this morning. Hey, I was all ready for that podcast and realized that I stuffed up the time this morning. That one was on me. Sorry, Cam, to do that too, but look forward to seeing tomorrow. John Power in the house. Bitcoin Buddha. What's happening with my furry little node holders? I think he's talking about Luna and Chester there, or for all the furries out there, you've been watching way too many internet cartoons. Mike, g'day, Sean. Fair alert, Germany should sell it all. It's not supposed to be for them. Absolutely love that sentiment. They can sell it all. They can dump the price. The lower, the better. I wake up this morning, Bitcoin's green, it's pumping. I'm like, fuck, stop it. Just stop it. Just send it lower. But, you know, Bitcoin, you can't stop it. 11 days a year on average is when it makes up its most gains. We can't time those. We don't know when they're going to happen. So just fire it off, get ready, and more comes in, fire it off, and it's exciting. But anyway, Germany, they've been forced, and it's good that it's good that it's going from weak hands to the strong hands. Wall Street, for everyone here that's been stacking behind the dip. Well done, legends, making history, making making the world a better place. It's pretty cool. This is a revolution. No stress. It was a gift. Gargoyle. I think he's trolling with the kangaroo emoji in the house. G'day, Average Geo in the house. Panic sale. What's that? Let's go. Panic buying. Yes, the price may never be this low again. I agree. And that's something that scares me, that worries me about it. And yes, you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve, but people are hurting out there. So, you know, if they can wake up to the fact that Bitcoin can just stay here for even just a couple more people to be able to jump in and change their lives in a great way, I'd be grateful for it, but we can't control it. It really doesn't matter. And I think, you know, September and then Q4 this year are just going to be absolutely wild. People are talking about that $100,000 end a year. When I was talking to my mate yesterday, I said, man, I don't know about the price. Hopefully it stays down at this level for the next 4 years. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're at 80 to 100K by the end of the year. Like, easy. It's really not much. So it's turning, you know, even if it's just $57 into $80 in a few short months, if you're here for the fiat gains, hopefully by that time you read the book, I think we're in for a bit of a treat. Does that happen? I don't know. I really don't care, but it's starting to look that way. I think this is perfectly normal, perfectly natural. It's playing out exactly, I think, 24% from the recent high to where it is now. It's a healthy correction. It's as it should be. And Germany getting rid of it. Mt. Gox slowly selling over 90 days, not just putting it all on the market. And is it the FTX customers, $16-18 billion they're being paid out in cash? Those people, some of them are degens. They're going to pile that liquidity back into the market. Hopefully they've learnt their lesson and put it into Bitcoin. Either way, a lot of liquidity coming in. Will all of it? Some will be like, too much for me, and that's their fault for leaving on an exchange. But exciting times. That's where I'm going. Bloody exciting times. And thanks for being here. It's an honor to be on this journey through space and time as humanity hurls towards a brighter, better Bitcoin orange future. It's glorious. Sean will glue all the notes. He ripped up and buy more Bitcoin. Yeah, that's not going to happen. It's all funny money. It's all monopoly money. Anyway, you can't see it. Behind the Bitcoin flag, I got a Monopoly board just trolling, but it's all a farce. Fiat's a scam. People think Bitcoin's a scam. It's not. People like fiat currency. I think they did an incredible job at telling the greatest lie humanity has ever been told with fiat. When they removed the pegging to gold, they pegged the general population well and truly, and they've done pretty good pushing that can down the road. I don't know, pretty good. Not really. There's a lot of war going on in the world, a lot of hardship even here. You know, a lot of homelessness going on, a lot of people escaping with drugs, alcohol. When the money is broken, society becomes broken. We have hard money, and it is for people on the hard money standard. Few short years, stack for 4 years, and you're sweet. If history's any indicator of future performance, advice, no. My belief, yes, 100%. Do with that what you will. But for people on the Bitcoin standard, even just for a short period of time, they have hope again. They can see a brighter day. They're pleasant to deal with. You know, they put an effort to be able to understand something that hasn't been here before in the history of humanity. So I think we are rapidly moving towards a better place, but that separation of money and state, it's not going to be smooth sailing for people that stay on the state side with their fiat garbage. So it's, I don't know, we're here now. It's cool. And does anyone else think that way, or is just here for the number go up, which is going to happen, in my opinion? Good, cool. It's good marketing angle, but once you get to a certain level, it's just digits, really, isn't it? Just numbers on a screen on the computer, and then you find out like Bitcoin, it doesn't actually exist, and you're like, oh, that's a little bit of a rabbit hole. Maybe it's a little bit too deep for a lot of people, but Bitcoin doesn't exist. And your USB signing device. It's just a signing device and you're moving, or signing UTXOs. You're not really moving anything so much around. It's not like a dollar from me to you. And that's fine. That's cool. We're a digital age and you can't send Bitcoin phone to phone. But it's and then AI comes into the mix and they're only going to want Bitcoin. So I can only see more green forever. Really, the red days, they're welcome. The man is based. I'm not sure who that is, but all Bitcoiners are based. Oh, Peter Schiff. I need to bring this up. I love to troll him. Absolutely love to troll him. Give me a moment here on X. I reposted this morning. He's just so great, but he's turned. Peter Schiff has done the flip. That's a little bit weird seeing myself live. Come on, where is it? Yeah, here we go. Let me bring this up here. Peter Schiff, I'm an instant baller. Look what I came across. There are some things you just can't escape from. Shout out to Peter Schiff. He realizes Bitcoin is inevitable. It's coming for everyone, everything, everywhere. TikTok next block, baby. Peter, maybe he's getting it. I'm trolling. He still doesn't get it. He's still going to keep trolling. I had a funny interaction with him the other day. Love to have a conversation with the man. He's so unhinged, but he probably says the same about the Bitcoiners. Anyway, love to hate him. Average Geo. Let's keep carrying on. This is what a wise old man looks like. I have no idea who is talking about there. Plus, he's going to get his coins back. Oh, yeah, this gentleman, he's just absolutely incredible, hey? That's the guy with the Bitcoin way. Absolutely fascinating. Well done. If he can do it, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. You can do it out there, and you should do it. Run a node, air gap wallet, protect your devices, be sovereign, look at getting a second passport if your country hates you. A lot of countries around the world look like they hate a lot of people. But yeah, this gentleman, he's based. He's based AF. What a guy, hey? He'll get little parts of them back. Yeah, which is good. What do you mean if he had 100 Bitcoin, he should get 100 Bitcoin back? Customers will receive only roughly 15% of the Bitcoin they held on the exchanges. Fairlet, are you sure on that? I'm going to check on that. And on today's Wednesday, tomorrow I'll bring it up with Cam and check it. I thought they were getting paid back in full. Where's the rest go? Probably attorneys. The lawyers always win. If you bought them early, he could still own thousands, even if it's only 15%. When you bought 100 sitting there on exchange, you got 15 now. That's still pretty good for a lot of people out there, hey? So, you know, whatever it is. But I guess at that time, it was sad. People didn't really understand what they were holding, what they were doing, and they left it on the exchange. There's no excuse anymore. And don't think it won't happen to you. Everyone in FTX didn't think it had happened to them. 3AC, BlockFi, all the rest, Celsius. You know, I won't name any ones that could potentially, but just get it off the exchange. It's easy. It doesn't need to happen. It shouldn't happen. There's no excuse apart from total ignorance. Loan is the way to go. Why would you sell the hardest asset known to man? Price is what it is. I agree. I won't be using the value for at least 9 years from now, and then I'll likely be alone against it. Loan is the way to go. Selling 1/6 of my stack over the next 6 cycles, then I'm off to feed the worms. I like it. 24 years then. Oops, yeah. In the US, they don't tax loans against assets. Awesome. And here in Australia, I don't believe they do either. That's something I need to look into. And running it through a company tax rate's 25% out there instead of the higher income tax breaks at tax rate at 50. It's not 50%, but it feels pretty much like 50%. And it's up there. So there are vehicles you can use that you can go through. The self-managed super funds as well, 13% tax, if I've hit the nail on the head there, is the lowest tax vehicle you can do. Income, especially in the higher tax brackets, the worst. Businesses are pretty favorable as well, but holding it as an individual, if you hold it for more than 1 year, you do get the capital tax gains break. And so the 50%, you're only paying tax on 50% of the profits. Effectively, it's 25%. Same as a company. So if you hold it for at least a year, you're sweet. If you hold it for a year and you read the books, you're probably sweet. You don't need to sell it. Then you can loan against it, and then it's 0% tax if we've got that right there. Catch the 40 last night, mate. Bloody ripper, hey? Yeah. It's I don't just do not watch TV. I own that TV behind me. It's the first TV I've owned in 15 years. It's not connected to anything apart from the computer to be able to show you the Bitcoin price. That's what I bought a $2,000 TV for, to show you the Bitcoin price, yeah? It's the biggest psyop. It's just programming. Television, tell a vision. It's there in the name. Programs, programming. So what program do you want to watch? Garbage in, garbage out. It's the way they work. Absolutely sinister. Even in the Quran, they're talking about this big black mat, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to get this so wrong in my respect. I apologize. They're talking about this big black like mat or rug that people would look into, and they'd show them pictures back. It's all amazing, hey? It was already foretold. Not a good thing. The mark of the beast. I still think there's a mega crash of everything within the next 10 years. Gargoyle, I 100% agree. Last night I was just thinking, are we in an everything bubble? And I think we are now at the everything bubble stage. It's good for hard assets when it pops, if it pops, nothing's certain, but it definitely feels like that way, and Lawrence Lepard and I dive into this a little bit, but when it blows up, Bitcoin will come down. But what are we at that price? $1 million, and it drops down to 500,000. That's still a 10x from here. Maybe it drops from $1 million down to 57,000, and you're sitting neutral. I don't think that's the case. People are going to come in and they're going to understand Bitcoin by then. But gold, Bitcoin, I don't really think there's any other opportunity to be able to protect yourself in short term in that volatility. Sure, we'll feel hit whenever it pops at the end of the cycle. When we hit the top and we come back down, I don't think it's hyper Bitcoinization yet. It sort of is and it isn't. Like, we'll go up, we'll come down, but then we'll go up. But it's been hyper Bitcoinization for the last 15 years, really. It's just more and more people are coming in as it goes up. Everything else is, I think it's going to be pretty bad. Worse than 2008, worse than what 2020 could have been if they hadn't injected all that money. So maybe get some just in case and hold in self-custody. Yeah, Cryptopia is the next hacked exchange where the punters will get all their coins back. That liquidation been going on for 5 years. It's close to being resolved. And another good message, just not to leave it on the exchange. Kirk, good to see you this morning. OPD in the house. Living in the UK, I couldn't buy an ETF if I wanted to. We still have silly EU rules, even though we left almost 4 years ago. Absolutely insane. Taxes, theft, 100% agree. Tell Live Vision, Mr. Andrew, the mark of the beast is from the Bible, brother, the book of Revelation. I was paraphrasing those two, but the Quran was talking about the black mat in there. And yes, the mark of the beast is from the Bible, but the black mat is the mark of the beast. They're programming people with it. That's where it's going. My apologies. The big black mirror. Yep, I haven't watched live TV for 20 years. Why would you with internet? Yeah, my TV isn't hooked up either. I think there's an aerial on the roof maybe, but there's a cut cord. And I'm just not interested in the slides. As cool as the old base guy in the Bitcoin way spotters, don't be like him. Self-custody your Bitcoin. Don't let anyone hold your Bitcoin no matter what. Bitcoin Buddha, 100%. And maybe you're mistaken with the Bitcoin way there. They don't touch keys. They don't touch the coins. They empower you to be able to take self-custody of your Bitcoin to be able to learn the skills. That's what he was talking about, is he learned the skills. There's other people out there that charge you a fee for service, like an ongoing fee, and they can hold it in self-custody, collaborative custody, blah, blah, blah. They don't teach you the skills. You need to have it in an air-gap wallet. You need to run a node. You need to get your devices secure. That's what the Bitcoin way does. Cybersecurity experts. So let's just not be mistaken with the Bitcoin way there. I talk to Tony pretty much on average once a week, and there's always tips and tricks, fine-tuning that we can go down. Sometimes they're just fun, interesting conversations. This is about empowering you to be able to be a self-sovereign individual. And if you're mistaken with that, check out the video that Tony and I did, or maybe I'm mistaken with reading that comment. But yeah, the guy got it wrong at the start, leaving it on Mt. Gox, and then he's learned about it. The Bitcoin way helped him become a sovereign individual by teaching him the skills, not doing it for him, teaching him. And that's how it needs to be done. Not handing over your power. That's the fiat system. That's the slave system. This is about taking 100% self-responsibility to be able to stack those sats, protect the bag, look after you, your friends, your family. It's not a joke. It's not a drill. CBDCs, digital IDs, fiat money printing, just that alone, when they just print endless amounts of money and everything goes to zero, houses melt up, everything else goes up. And that's how they can control you in a debt-based society. Stuff that, no more. Buy, stack, and chill. On that note, we're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow with Cam. Have a beautiful day. Oh, Bitcoin Buddha. My apologies, bro, but what I said is still important for anyone out there mistaken. Yes, leaving on Mt. Gox is. What I'm saying is don't lock up your coins for 100% yield this cycle. You can get yield. You can earn yield on your Bitcoin. Don't do it. 100% a scam. Anyway, be blessed. Peace.